Hello everybody, while this video gets started, I wanted to tell you guys about the $500 in Battle.net credit that we're giving away to help spread the love on some new Gaming Curios channels. We're making channels for Fortnite and VR to give you guys the very best moments those games have to offer. And to enter the giveaway, all you gotta do is click that link down below and subscribe to those new channels. You could win $500 in Battle.net credit, and it's super easy and fast. Anyway, enjoy the video. Hello everybody, Disciple here with Overwatch Curios. Now when it comes to character difficulty level in Overwatch, few, if any, heroes can be as difficult to play as well as Genji. Mastering the Shimada Ninja takes a tremendous amount of time, but can be a highly rewarding experience when you finally learn how to play him. Not only is he fun to play, but he can also carry matches by himself. Luckily for those of you aspiring Genji mains out there, we've got some tips and tricks that you can abuse in your own gameplay to play a little bit more like Grandmaster players do. And while these tips may not instantly make you GM, and while you might do some of these yourself, if you can incorporate more of these into your gameplay, you are bound to improve. And if you play against Genjis a lot, then maybe you can identify these and try and play around them. Now, one of the most important mechanics to learn with Genji is how to cancel your animations to put out burst damage very quickly. The post-fire animation of Genji's alternate fire can be cancelled by activating an ability afterwards. This is most commonly used with his dash, however it can also be cancelled with a melee attack. And if you've seen animation cancelling in any other games or on any other characters, you'll know how well it can be used to speed up your overall damage by chaining together your abilities together much more quickly. You'll frequently see high-level Genji players fan the shurikens and follow up with a melee immediately afterwards on low health targets to eliminate them very quickly. It's worth noting that this only works with the alternate fire, however, because all three of those shurikens are released at the same time. If you try to cancel your primary fire with a dash or melee, you'll only fire one or two of the three shurikens. But if you're meleeing, you should probably right click anyway because it's much faster and has higher DPS at close ranges. Now, Genji's dash ability is a quick source of damage, dealing 50 damage to anyone he passes through with it. However, the cooldown of the ability is reset anytime Genji successfully kills a target, which you guys probably knew. Due to this, Genji can actually dive back lines very well. While sticking around the inside of the enemy team for any extended period of time can be a dangerous decision for any Genji player, you can use your dash to pick up kills on enemy targets that are low health. Once you get the kill, you now have a means of getting back to safety by being able to dash out once again. So don't be afraid to use it if your target is ever low on health, because getting that reset could be the difference between you living or dying. Now, it's important to note that anytime you dive into an enemy team, you should have a reason for doing so and already have an idea of how and where you're going to escape to afterwards. You should think a little bit more while you're playing and plan a route to a nearby health pack, or make sure your team is close enough that you'll be able to regroup with them easily. Otherwise, you'll just be recklessly tossing yourself at the enemy team and allowing them to kill you without providing any value to your team at all. Although Genji is mobile once he uses his dash and his deflect is down, he's very vulnerable, so expect your enemies to chase you out a bit and plan your retreat accordingly so that you can get away if you need to. Now, when you do make the decision to dash in and finish off a kill in this manner, try to deal the additional damage to another enemy when you decide to dash out and back to safety, if they happen to be in line with the general escape route you had initially planned. By min-maxing in this manner and taking advantage of the additional damage, you'll keep the enemy team under stress and help your allies in securing additional follow-up kills as well, while you wait for the opportunity to strike again. Hanzo isn't the only Shimada brother that can use geometry, and you should try and line it up so you can dash through multiple enemies and even catch a few enemies if you're deflecting and you're able to catch some enemy fire in your way, so that you can deal as much damage to the enemy team as possible at every moment you're playing. Now, Zenyatta's ultimate is largely considered a hard counter to Genji's Dragon Strike. After all, the ability is capable of healing 300 health per second in a large radius, and Dragon Strike only deals 120 damage per swing, and it has a 1 second cooldown between strikes. Mathematically, it seems pretty impossible to kill a target, yeah? However, when you're paired with a friendly Ana, Genji is actually able to instantly kill targets even under the effect of Transcendence. While under the effect of Nano Boost, all damage you deal will be increased by 50%, meaning you'll be able to pump out enough damage to secure kills as long as you swing once and send out a dash. Each one of your swings is going to do 180 damage, so it'll insta-kill someone like Tracer, and then you can follow that up with a dash that instead of 50 damage now deals 75 for a total of 255 damage. and you'll be able to put pretty much anyone into their grave with that combo. You should also be doing the same combo even without an Ana boost, since anyone else on your team who might be throwing in some incidental damage could be able to deal that 200 damage within the second that you need. To pull this off perfectly, we're going to go back to the animation canceling that we discussed earlier. You want to swing your Dragon Blade and then instantly cancel the post-fire effect of the animation of the Dragon Blade with your dash ability. This will front load enough burst damage to instantly kill anyone with 200 or less health on the enemy team. And since your dash resets after these eliminations, it's still possible for you to perform this instant kill on other squishy targets as well. So you want to try and get those kills with the dash if you can, so that your dash will always reset and you're not stuck without it. Now, speaking of utilizing dash effectively, transformation ultimates such as Dragon Blade will reset the cooldown of your dash immediately. Top Genji players can abuse this to their advantage in a ton of interesting and powerful ways. First of all, go back to being paired with Ana. By double jumping and then dashing into the air, you give Ana a clear line of sight to give you a nano boost. Since Genji makes one of the best targets in the game for nano boost, most Anas will be waiting for you to use Dragon Blade. However, you'll want to try communicating in voice chat with your Ana the exact moment you plan to use the ability. By jumping and dashing into the sky, you eliminate the possibility for your ultimate to be intercepted by another ally, like a friendly Lucio, and guarantee that it goes on to you. And it also helps stop an enemy McCree from flashbanging you the moment that you charge up. Once the ultimate is active, you can then dash down from the sky to begin your assault, or go across the battlefield to even close more distance onto your enemies. Sometimes, Grandmaster players will use a double jump and dash into the air simply to survey the enemy team. During the time you're in the air, you can look around and see where the enemy team is positioned a lot more accurately and prioritize your targets. Once you've selected a target, you can dash back down towards them and begin attacking after you've Dragon Bladed. However, there are also some times when dashing straight through the enemy team to deal initial damage before activating the ultimate can be useful as well. For example, Zarya is another hero that pairs very well with the Genji. If you see your Zarya hit a huge Graviton Surge, you can dash through the enemy team, activate Dragon Strike, attack once, and then immediately dash through them again to deal a ton of burst damage. After securing any eliminations this way, you'll want to focus on alternating between swinging your katana and dashing again. This way you'll be pumping out the most damage possible during the downtime between consecutive blade slashes by canceling the animation anytime you can possible. Now, one situation where you might not want to use this combo is if the enemy team has someone who can stun you while you're locked in your animation for your ultimate, such as McCree or Ana or Reinhardt. In that case, you'll want to ult from a safe distance and then dash into the fight, instead of dashing through them and then putting yourself a bit too close to the action. Now, one thing that less experienced Genji players seem to struggle with is knowing when exactly to use deflect to maximum value. Knowing the right time to deflect versus different heroes is something that takes a lot of practice. However, there's some general tips for several heroes. Against a Hanzo, for example, you'll want to deflect immediately after dashing into them. This is because a Hanzo player's typical reaction will be to scatter arrow as soon as they're dove by an enemy. You'll need to have deflect available anytime you close the distance on them, so if you've already spent it trying to deflect a shot from farther away, wait until the cooldown is reset before you go in, or you might just get insta-gibbed. Genji players will also attempt to deflect a McCree ultimate a bit too soon as well. Anytime a McCree uses their ultimate, they're trying to line up a multi-kill, and so you'll generally have almost 2 seconds before you actually want to activate deflect. By using it immediately, you're almost guaranteeing that he can wait out your deflect and kill you for free. Dashing towards the McCree can also cause him to fire the ultimate prematurely out of panic, so this is an option you have as well. If he decides not to shoot into the deflect, double jump over his head and get behind him. While in the air, he's likely to lose sight of you, and if he decides to turn around to focus on you, then you've pulled his view away from your team. This is a really risky play, but it's something that you can do to help your team if you feel it's necessary for them to keep a point contested or to make progress on the objective. If you want to go even deeper, McCree always shoots from his right to left while he's using his ultimate. So if you make sure you're on your left side or on his right, he'll have to shoot you first, and you can deflect before anyone on your team gets hit instead. Now, we mentioned potentially double jumping over a McCree, and it's really important to be able to utilize your high mobility to confuse your enemies and stay alive by double jumping very often. The height of Genji's double jump is quite high, and at closer ranges it can be especially disorienting for the enemy team. By consistently double jumping around the map during skirmishes, you'll benefit from 2 factors. First of all, it becomes disorienting for the enemies, making it harder for them to deal consistent damage for you, so it keeps you alive longer. On top of that, while you're in the air, you have a much more direct shot at their heads to deal bonus damage with your shurikens, since you have higher ground and more of their heads are exposed. In the same regard, you can utilize your availability to wall climb in the same way. If you haven't used both of your jumps in the same sequence already, you can get a jump as you dismount from the wall to gain more verticality and to add to the disorienting and elusive nature of your Genji play. One of Genji's greatest strengths, particularly at low levels, is how disruptive he can be to the enemy team. By constantly flipping around and climbing off walls, he becomes a huge distraction and threat to the enemy team. During this time, when you've diverted attention, the rest of your team gains an innate advantage in the fight. Now you can practice this in a few ways. It's actually pretty effective to go into the training range for this, because although the training range isn't usually great for your aim, as someone who's highly mobile, you'll actually be able to train very well by jumping around and shooting at the moving robots, or jumping off of walls and doing the same. They don't move exactly like a player would, but you're focusing more on controlling your own aiming versus your own movement, since when you move around, your aim is going to change as well, of course. You can also test this out in a headshots only mode, like with Ana bots or Zarya bots, where they can't do any damage to you, but they'll still run around trying to fight you, and you can jump around their heads, trying to get in as many left clicks as you can, so that you can focus on both improving your headshot accuracy and your mobility in fights. Now, Genji does have an insta-kill combo for squishy targets, however it's extremely difficult to pull off as it requires you to be incredibly up close to the enemy target. Now to pull this off, you'll need to fire your alternate fire and have all 3 shurikens hit the enemy head. Once again, jumping may make it easier to secure these direct hits. Now immediately afterwards, you'll dash through the target to finish them off. While it's highly improbable in most scenarios, it can be incredibly useful against a target like Widowmaker. Since Genji has incredibly quiet footsteps, it's possible for you to get in a position behind them and completely blindside them with this insta-kill combination before they can react. Now most of the time, all 3 shurikens won't go into your enemies during a fight, but if they're standing still, say you've got a Junkrat in his ultimate, you can put them all in easily and kill him before he knows what's up. Well, alright everyone, that's going to do it for our Grandmaster tips and tricks on playing Genji, but I want to know what you guys think. We've just started working on some more content of this nature, but the ones we did in the past seem to go over pretty well. And while I'm not a Grandmaster player myself, we have plenty of Grandmaster friends who help us out with these videos, contributing tips and tricks of things they do in games every single day. I'd love to make some more videos like this in the future, so let me know what you'd like to see from the Grandmasters themselves, and maybe it'll come in a video soon. If you guys want to see that video, of course you gotta subscribe to the channel, so make sure you do that before you leave. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.